Again, first-time callers, welcome to the call. All the callers that are calling back, and you have called numerous times, a lot of you are still prepared and waiting, even yourself, for messages or answers back from this area. And as I begin to move forward on this Rise and Shine call, as I'm welcoming everyone back to the call, I want to say to a lot of my old callers and some that I was at once upon a time able to text you back or to email you back personally, I would say to you that you're in line now with everyone else, and I cannot reverse myself in a manner where I start going backwards. I keep going forward. Remember that there was a man by the name of Moses. And once upon a time, Moses came upon something that he called deceit. And they began to call it the Red Sea after a period of time of knowing that there was a lot of destruction that took place at this sea. So this sea also was called the River of Jordan. I have to tell you that they had to make a crossing over that Jordan River to become to a point where we're at right now today. I know it may not seem like we've come forth, but we've come a long way since that moment in time of Moses. And a lot of people now want to discount the story of Moses, but at the same time, they're living, if we might say it, they're living the Moses time now in a better, if we might say, in a better light. So as I move forward with this Rise and Shine call and explain to everyone exactly why it's so difficult for me now to be able to return back to a lot of the things that I've had to go through in the past 5 years, I would have to say to you that at the same time, I'm still looking upward. And as I look up, I see this face, which every now and then, he and I will walk on this earth together, and he talks to me. He holds me by my right hand, and he explains to me that this is what he's called me here to do. And I must give the answer to the whole entire universe, to the global world, not just to a few individuals who call themselves my family or my friends. So I have to remember that even when Moses was at this Red Sea or this River of Jordan, that was a statement that Moses even asked my father. And he asked him the question while looking up to him. He says, where do I go, or where do we go from here? And he heard the voice of my father telling him then to tell the people, tell them that I say to go forward. And this is exactly what I must do now. I must go forward. I cannot reverse myself. I cannot sit still and just talk to, I would say, a group of 10 people or less. I must go forward with telling the entire universe everything that my father has spoken to me to speak to the universe. This is what I must do. So I thank you, United Nations, all of your first-time callers, and those of you that have returned. I thank you for your many of emails and your so many of comments right now, all based upon the global world, based upon what's happening in your neighborhood that has not actually changed a whole lot compared to what America might think that is changing. But at the same time, you realize that what is coming out of my mouth, the words that I'm saying out of my mouth, are becoming reality on this universe, on this planet. And you basically are just sticking close so you would know what's next. You would know exactly how to protect yourself. You'll know exactly what's next to be able to feed yourself and to house yourself. You're knowing exactly what will come next just by listening to my voice and listening to what I tell you you must do and the preparations that you must make to be feasible or to be a point where you will be able to move forward in a healthy and safe manner. And these things I must do according to what has been already written in the book. And in all of the Holy Scriptures. And now, even those that consider themselves to be men, that are considered to be holy men, are beginning to agree with me. Those of them that are beginning to agree with me is based upon the fact that he knows what voice he's listening to. He knows exactly where this thought of my mind comes from. He knows this is not a thought of just a natural man on the planet who wants to, if might even make himself famous, or it's not from a man who's trying to receive riches and those type of things. He knows that even when he hears my voice and hears me making statements such as, silver and gold I have none, but such as I have I give to thee. He knows exactly whose voice he's listening to. And as I began to speak to the people this morning, rising, shining, everyone, as he and she has risen, I want to say to us, we must become more in tune with what is going on spiritually on this planet, rather than get ourselves caught up in materialism, materialistic things of this world, because this world now is about to burst wide open spiritually. And remember, if you're reading the book has told you, with no doubt, it has said that in the last days, it says that the Spirit of Yah, YHWH, which can be found in Psalm 68 and 4, it says in the last days, it says that his Spirit, Yah, Spirit, will be poured out upon all flesh. And that's what's taking place right now. This Spirit is being poured out upon all flesh. And thereby, all mankind will be able to receive this Spirit. This Spirit will either put him in a position where he will have everlasting life or he will have eternal death. And for those that still don't believe if there's a heaven or hell, I tell them, get prepared. Perhaps if you're right, then you just may be able to pass heaven and hell. But if you're wrong, I would tell you to get prepared to meet one of those destinations, because you will. This is what's taking place now. So as I come to the United Nations, I want to come in a way where I know the United States will be getting this at a later date. And we know that a majority of them will be listening today. According to the words that has already been written in the Word, it says that all ears that have ears will hear, and all those who have eyes will see. Those that don't, they will be considered to be amongst those that are the unrighteous. The ones that are the unrighteous will not be able to see, neither will they be able to hear those things that come from up above. They definitely won't understand those things. And there's a majority that's going around now of individuals walking together. I would say that they are the blind trying to lead the blind. They are more concerned with material things than they are with spirituality itself, or spiritual things, which my father is only right now dealing with. He ain't dealing with no material things right now. And those that think he'll, I would tell them, they perhaps might want to join some of the churches down south in the United States, because they're still dealing with something that they call this way of dealing with material things where they're going to prosper from these things that they have never received and they never will receive. That is a fact. So these are the things that I have to move forward in today. Dealing with the United Nations, dealing with the Global World Network. Global World Network is part of the reset process. The reset is to reset this entire universe. And when I spoke of flesh, I'm meaning to let you know that my Father, when He's pouring out of His Spirit, He's pouring out of His Spirit upon all flesh. They said that the flesh of man, the flesh of the animal, the flesh of fish. So He's pouring out His Spirit upon all of these creations. And these creations, believe it or not, they're taking note of what's taking place, and they're themselves getting in tune to reset. Believe it or not, if you pay attention to the animals, and they, during the bad weather, they move and they hide out. They don't show themselves. They don't say anything. They just sit still and they get quiet. And after the storm is gone over, if you're paying attention, they will even allow you to be acknowledgeable of what they're doing by listening to them begin to sing again, to watch them come out and play in the water after a serious rain has passed. This is what they do. And they now are resetting themselves. They're resetting themselves to the point, and I need you to hear this, United Nations, because in your lands and in your areas, the exact same things are happening. You're realizing now that the if we might even say the vipers, and in America's word, we use the word snake. You realize that even the snakes are no longer playing in the forest anymore. They're not out there anymore. They're not out in the jungle anymore. For the matter of fact, they'll come close to your homes now. They're resetting themselves. And now the book has even told you that there will come a time when these vipers will play close to the den of your young. That's your children. Those vipers will be right at your house. They will be right at your door, playing at a place close to where your children, your young, is at. And this is the places which now you must also reset, or you must restore, or you must replenish to be able to protect your young. You have to realize that if the jungle is now coming to you, you just may have to set up a protection to, again, move away from the jungle. And this is what's taking place all over the planet. As the waters begin to rise, you will realize that there are sea creatures that was once upon a time way out in the middle of the sea. These sea creatures will now be at your front door once again, playing real close to your, if we might say it, your cave, where your young will be housed inside. You will realize that these seas that's giving up these animals are allowing this animal to begin to restore himself. Once when you had sea creatures that walked up on two legs, you will again see those things happen again. Don't be alarmed, because you as a mankind, you will develop, if we might even say that, you will develop a certain type of powers to protect you against it. But at the same time, you must be of the righteous. You must realize exactly what these powers are and be able to understand how to use these powers without looking to gain something materialistic from it. These are the powers in which my Father will give to only those who recognize this. Stay with me, United Nations, because you know I'm headed somewhere with this, and I need you to be seriously paying attention and taking note, because as I send out my messages, I'm sending it out to the world leaders. I'm sending it out to all the superpower leaders of the world, and I am putting it in writing, and they are able to read it. I'm giving them references in which they can go and reference these things and check it out for themselves. They'll be able to send down a new, if we might call him that, the new guy that they'll consider to be their new Jakusto. They can now send him out in some of the greatest equipment that has been developed by themselves or invented by themselves. And they can now send him out deep into the ocean, much deeper than Jakusto ever could have went. And they can come back and verify exactly what Dr. Henderson is saying out of his mouth to be factual. They're probably wondering, how does he know without him having some kind of gills or having some type of swimming technique or having some type of ability to be able to drink water while swimming to know all of this? I keep explaining to them as I send them the text. All they have to do is read the text and to tell them exactly how Dr. Henderson knows all these things. He knows all these things, for only one knows those things. And he would have to be either talking to him or he would have to at least be dining with him at some point in time just to be able to receive this knowledge. And I know Dr. Henderson is still getting just as many texts and emails of those that are questioning him on the ability to try to trip him up, based upon the fact that they believe that they found the so-called missing link themselves. At the same time, he tells them where their missing link is still missing at. I still understand that they will still try to question him. They will try to trip him up. It will not happen. Not going to happen. And because he and the Father, they will become one. For sure. And as they become one, I can assure you that there will be no one inside or outside of them. So as he began to give you these messages, I would say, please pay attention. Your so-called super leaders are getting this in writing. Whether they heed it or not will be totally up to them. Because at the same time, if they're reading the bottom of the ledger of what we call the footnotes, they will realize that he's actually even telling them that there will come a time when they will have eyes and not see and ears and not hear. They will also realize that he's telling them it's either truth or it's a lie, the life or death. They will realize that these are not threats, but only warnings coming straight from up above. They will realize that they will either tell the people or they will keep the people in total seclusion of the truth. This will backfire on them. So they need to realize that as panic does arise from time to time, it does not have to wait for any length of time for panic to set in. Once panic sets in, I can assure you that any, if we might say, medical attention that you were going to administer to the person just possibly will be too late. So as we move forward, I'm saying to all of the world leaders out there that are listening, that do have people delegate, that you have delegated to go out and listen to Dr. Henderson's messages and bring back the information so that you can see what is it that you can cure, or that you can try to bypass, or that you can sidetrack, or even that perhaps maybe it's something that he didn't say that he left out that perhaps you may be able to benefit on. I can say to you, it's not going to happen. As I come forward, United Nations, I'm giving you an opportunity to realize that it says, and this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. Now, believe it or not, that was very spoken by one of the ones that they called the most beloved. His name was John. It was the book of John, which even perhaps maybe giving the credit to one whom they called John the Baptist. He was giving a message then about one who would come. He would bring a message. It would be a message of hope for those who had hope. It would be a message of love for those who had love. And this is the message in which it's being brought now. But he, the one whom hearing the message must either have one of the above, love or the hope. Remember, deferred hope will make the heart sick. And thereby I would tell them, do not hope too long, for love will conquer all things. I would tell them, make sure you have this ability to love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Remembering first to love Yah, to love God with all their heart and have no other God before him. United Nations, I must go a little bit deeper into what's going on nowadays, even around the planet, around the nations. So the world will know exactly what we have to do to be able to survive on this planet with the things that are coming up right now. But there's just so much going on. So much going on around the planet right now. Until everyone is going to truly be affected by it. We don't get a choice. Everyone will be being affected by it because we have all of our nation leaders now that are coming forth. Right now, as we begin to move forward into a new time frame of this world, we have people such as our President of the United States, which is now sitting down to have a conversation with Japan. And believe it or not, in this conversation that he's having with Japan, that would be a number of things that he's going to make sure he bypass and that he stay away from before being able to conversate with them on. And one of those is he's going to try to bypass talking about Hiroshima. Hiroshima was a time when the United States had used a nuclear weapon to destroy that area. They began to call it Napalm, which they called it there. It was a Napalm, not Napalm, but it was a bomb in which they sent that caused a lot of things that happened on the planet for its restoration is even concerned. Believe it or not, the effects of that one particular nuclear bomb affects some of the United States people to this day as well. Even though that bomb took place so far off, and now they want to make sure that they stay away from this conversation while he's there visiting Japan. But I think it's a conversation that needs to be opened based upon the fact that right now a lot of the men and women in America that's around the age of 60 and below, a lot of them suffer from the effects of that particular bomb. A lot of the soldiers that were out there during that time now have children that were, we may say, that were affected based upon their physical appearances now. A lot of things took place with those chemicals in which went out all over the area until now you have those that were physically afflicted, physically in the places like as far as Cambodia and Vietnam and all the way to Japan, based upon the fact a lot of the men were soldiers that were also fighting around that time. And they were affected by those chemicals, and those chemicals became part of their bodies function. It became part of their body fluids, and it went from them into their family members and their offspring. And now you have these offsprings which now have been affected by these chemicals. The reason I'm mentioning that because as we speak now, there's many nations that are at war. They're fighting. And I want you to help me out, you super leaders out there, powerful leaders, united leaders, if I might say. You have been chosen by your nations. You have been chosen by your people. You have been chosen by your peers to protect the people. And as we go now, we know now that you are using these same chemicals to fight battles now, small battles. We're not talking about large battles, but you're fighting small battles. As a matter of fact, some of the battles that you're fighting are so small, they have been considered to be cousins and against cousins. They are brothers against brothers. They are sisters against sisters. Yes, and some of those battles that you're fighting are mothers against daughters, and some of those battles that you're fighting are fathers against sons. And I understand that you have not yet read the book, so that's why you're missing what I'm saying right now. But it says in the book that there will come a time when mothers will be against daughters and fathers against sons and vice versa. This is what I'm talking about. So it's in the book already. It tells you that during that same time there should be wars and rumors of wars, but the end will not be yet. It's in the book. You have to read the book. So it's in there. So what Dr. Henderson is doing is bringing the message to the universe. So they will have a plain understanding that what they're doing to the planet is destroying the planet, mankind here. And at the same time, let me make this statement, and let me make it plain, loud, and clear. So all of you super leaders, nation leaders that have sent those people to be in representation of you, I'm believing that these people are going to bring you back this message and its fullness of truth. And has been said of the super leaders of what will happen. You need to understand that this message that I bring you is clear. This battle of what is taking place now, where it says that there will be wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet will take place. It will happen. It is known as the Battle of Armageddon. This battle is already now upon the earth. It's taking place. You are a participant, and a lot of you are the ones who have put it together. You have built it. You have created it. If we might give you a creative spot. So as you have built a war where the dragon will be fighting the other four beasts. He will be fighting the leopard. He will be fighting the lion. And he will be fighting the bear. And even though you have, for many years, shoveled this position off to different nations, you have tried to accuse Persia of being the last nation that will be of this battle. You know better. You know that Persia was only a spiritual, if we might say, meaning. But you know that these nations now just so happens to be one, the United States. You know that one of those now just so happens to be Russia. You know that one of those nations now just so happens to be China, which is the Orient nation. You also know that one of these are known as the nation of the UN or the UK, which all of them will emass themselves at a point in time where they will become one of the nations as well. You know that these nations will battle in a fierce battle where these three beasts, they will overcome this final one beast, which needs to be overcome because this beast is known as the dragon. He is known that he must be brought down. You understand that after these other three beasts have completely destroyed this one beast, they will then become the four living creatures. You also know that once they have become the four living creatures, they will then humble themselves before the almighty voice of the universe. You know that once they have done that, then the one in whom you know to be Yah, YHWH, you know then he will come and he will sit on his throne, and he will then take full control of everything on this planet. You already know this. You've read the book. You have seen the so-called secret scrolls. You have also seen what you call the hidden books or the lost books. You have read all of these. You have studied them all. You have placed them inside the largest computer in the world. And it has given you all the answers that you need. Yes, and even though you're listening to a small voice now, you know exactly the voice you're listening to. You know that this voice also knows every book in which you still believe to be hidden or lost, or you have what we call hidden. But you're wondering, how can they be getting into the book in which you have hidden? It's because they need not read the word. They need not look for the word. They need not research the word because the word is in them. Remember, the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Remember that Word now that God has. He says he will only give it to one. That Word now is coming forth to you, and you must recognize this in truth. You don't have to bring any gold platters or silver platters of anything. You don't have to even come by and sing a song of praise. What you must do is you must recognize that you have needs on your body. You must recognize at some point in time, those needs must bow just like all needs will. And you must recognize the fact that God is who he say he is based upon what he's doing and what will happen on your planet. And yes, I know that you might now want to hurry up and get there. But I must tell you, be not quick for anything. Just take your time, because it's coming. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. There's nothing you can do to even make it speed up or slow it down. Just sit back, relax, grab yourself a bag of popcorn, and enjoy. Take the ride. You don't get a chance to get off here. You bought a ticket a long time ago. You either purchased this ticket from one that was on the street, or you purchased it from the ticket box yourself. However, if you purchased it from one on the street, let's just say we believe that he sold you the ticket in fairness and honesty, that you paid the same price that you would have gotten it at the ticket box. We definitely do not want you to have received a ticket that you paid an amount that was much more than the ticket box, knowing that you will be doomed if you do not use that ticket properly. I would have to say, based upon that fact, that I've just made that statement: love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. One mind, one heart, one spirit. Believing that you have used these 5 divine principles to purchase your ticket in action rather than words, I would say to you, in that respect, you would have gotten the ticket honestly, and thereby my Father, knowing that you got it in honestly, and it would have been in secret, that he will reward you openly. However, if you got it trying to show others that you had already received it, then you already have your reward. For you have found yourself to be like those that are of the synagogue of Satan, and you would have received theirs just so that you might be able to show this vision to men rather than to do it in secret, that my Father may openly reward you. As I move forward, again, the United Nations, I know that right now, again, a lot of you are suffering from homelessness. I know that we still have our refugees that are still running from nation to nation, trying to find homes. We will stay working with you. As we look at Great Britain this morning, we see that the Queen she brands Chinese officials very rude. You know, I think with dealing with the world right now, there will be a lot that's going to start taking place. You know, the Queen is calling the Chinese very rude for a reason. You know, she says it's during her 90th birthday, I might add. So she says she's 90. She's calling them rude, possibly because she knows that her time of reigning is over. She also knows better than that. She knows that she never should have been in charge. So as she began to talk with her brother David Cameron, I'm believing that at some point in time, she needs to tell him the truth and let him know exactly what's taking place. Because I do know that he himself, being that she's 90 and he's only in his late 50s, I know for a fact that he is not aware that she comes out of a family which is a false family of royalty. And he himself has grown up from a little boy to a man believing in a lie. But it will come to pass. It will come to pass where he too will find the truth. Everything that's going on right now, such as the 5 Solomon Islands that have been swallowed up by the sea, these things are happening to bring forth an understanding. An understanding of who's who on this planet. And being that Queen Elizabeth, if they might call her that, Elizabeth Windsor, being that she can't now, being 90 years old, still cannot tell the truth. She would rather take a lie to her grave if there be one for her. She would rather take this lie with her. I can assure her that by the time she leaves her, the truth will not only be out, but she would have spent some time in the grave in the United States of America, which her family surely came from. And they came from there as liars, based upon trying to build a monetary system, not a monarch. I repeat, they came from there trying to build a monetary system rather than a monarch. In other words, she knows that the fact remains that she was never even a royal family, even coming from England. These truths have to be told during these days and time because of where we're at in the United Nations. Right now, we're moving so fast. We got so many people in the UK right now that's becoming homeless. They're having their homes taken away from them, foreclosures. They're having so much of them being incarcerated based upon the fact of false accusations, and we might say they're being accused falsely, and they're being blown in based upon the fact they now do not want to follow that same lie of some so-called royal princess somewhere. And they want to make sure that she knows that they know that she's a liar. So as we move forward with all the things that are happening around the world, my letters that I've written to the nations in the last past few months, in the last past few weeks, I've completed those letters. I sent out maps showing locations of those areas and what will take place and what will happen. I know for those of you that receive them, I would say, don't be afraid to allow them to scatter. Send them out. I guarantee you, as you send them out, you will see those things happening as you speak, such as what just went across by wave of Texas storm and went out through Oklahoma and Arkansas. These things will begin to intensify. They're going to become greater in number. They're going to accelerate, and they're going to escalate. They will become bigger and larger as we go through this time frame. And for those now that have gotten away from what this teaching is, they will find themselves part of the storm. They will find themselves trying to swim their way back rather than walking with us. They will find themselves trying to swim their way back. This is not a threat. This is not a curse. I'm just giving you what thus says Yah, God Almighty of the universe, that's taking place. So as we go forward, I know that I'm going to be doing a lot of work this week. There's a lot of places that I must get to, a lot of things that I must say, a lot of the leaders that I must be dealing with. I have to deal with the super leaders. And when I call them the super leaders, I'm talking about the nation leaders. So to those of you that are my brothers and sisters, my family, my friends, don't take it personally that I won't be sitting down talking with you about things that's not going to save the universe at this moment in time. I want to make sure that I make that perfectly clear while on the United Nations call, because I do, too. United Nations get calls from people right in the United States and from right down the street. And a lot of them, yes, they are part of our staff, if I might even call them that. But right now, it's not a call for me to sit down and talk to them about something personal based upon what they think is personal when we got a whole universe falling apart. I know why y'all put me here, United Nations. And as my respect to you, as my honor to you, as I have spoken to a lot of you, and truly you world leaders, I will be moving forward as the world court, as the individual that has been placed on this planet to be the true judge of this universe. And I will make sure that I do not compromise that position by sitting down talking to people on a personal level when I need to be dealing with this universe and this global world network reset. I will make sure that as it has been given to me by the powers of Yah to be, and by you, those of you that are the righteous that are now poised and sitting in position to work with me as the righteous. I understand that a lot of you have also been sent to this planet in a galactic experience, in a galactic way, to help me to move forward into this world, and for us as a galactic family to get this world completed and get this world restored. We will breathe life back into this dying world. We will reset this world. We will make sure that as those demons begin to move forward, that we destroy all of the demons off this planet, and that we allow the righteous of mankind to live on. So as now all of the weather is beginning to get worse, I know that the earthquakes are beginning to shake underneath the earth as I speak. I know exactly where they're at. And as the scientists now reach out to me, as those global leaders reach out to me now wanting to know, is it close to them, is it in their areas, I would have to tell them yes. I would have to tell them that if you're reading the book, it said that there will be a new heaven and a new earth, for the old one would have passed away. I would tell you that this whole earth will pass away. It will be destroyed. It will be. Only the righteous will be able to, if we might say, avoid being destroyed on the old earth. All the unrighteous will be destroyed on the old earth, and only the righteous will be on the new earth. All of the unrighteous will be destroyed on the old earth. All of the righteous will be reserved, and they will be placed on the new earth. That is the righteous. The unrighteous, I would even say to them, farewell, because this is what Allah is doing. This is not a man call. This is a God call. This is a call from the YHWH. And whatever he replenishes the world with, he will replenish it. Whatever he restores the world with, it will be considered Jubilee. Because we have to understand that when we use the word Jubilee, Jubilee means the year of our Lord. It means the year of Yah, the year of the YHWH. That is what Jubilee stands for. And as he moves forward to complete his process, to put this world back on a playing field for mankind to be able to survive everlasting life as he has spoken it, based on the fact that they must believe that he has sent his only son, his only begotten son, that whosoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. This is a fact. And as we move forward for the rest of the day, as I began to draw up more of the pictures of the maps, as I began to write more of the information in the letters to come forward, to bring forward to you superpower leaders and to you nations in which are concerned based upon the fact there are righteous all over this planet, and all the righteous that are truly concerned. As I bring the information to you, I would tell you, take heed to it. Know that these are the true words of the Most High. It has nothing to do with us walking in this flesh, because this flesh is receiving all of the Spirit in which our Father is pouring out upon this flesh. And because we must deal with this Spirit in which our Father is pouring out, I say take heed to what's being said. Right now, going across, if I might say all the way around the western shore, to include the eastern shore, there is a travail line that's going around it right now. That travail line will cut into something that is known as the equinox. And as it cuts into the equinox, close inside the equinox, Ecuador, inside of it is the core of a hot flame. When opened up, as if though it was a ball being sliced open from a circular motion going around it, in the center of it, the center core of it, is the hottest part of this world. That core will be open. That heat will spew out. And then you will have what we call a burning fire that will go around the earth until it consumes at least 1/3 of the earth. At the same time, you're already getting the water in which will saturate the whole entire universe. This water will become to a point where it will rise, and it will consume 1/3 of the water. That fire will also cause 1/3 of the earth vegetation to be consumed. At the same time, a big storm will come of a wind blowing. This wind will cause 1/3 of the earth to be blown away, as if there was a vapor. I'm not trying to scare you people. I'm trying to inform you that you must get your hearts right with Allah. You must get right, because that is the only thing that will save you of you being righteous. You cannot keep manipulating your friends. You cannot keep lying on your brothers and sisters. You cannot keep going around trying to cause confusion and chaos amongst your family. That will only doom you on the old world. That will only doom you in the old heaven, and those things will pass away. That will only doom you even if you should find yourself sitting before the Pope on your knees taking mass. That will doom you, because it has already told you in this new world there will be no more Holy See. It has told you that the Vatican City will be consumed by a bright light. So you need to understand exactly the severity of what I'm bringing to you and saying to you. And if you think that you have been caught in a movie somewhere, if you believe that you have been caught somehow in a fairy tale world, I would tell you that you have need to wake up and realize that this is not a dream, but this is reality. And I'm not talking for my own help. I am talking for your help. It will behoove you to understand that this is a warning in which once came to you from one that was named Noah. That warning came by way again by Ezekiel. That warning came by way again by the way of Daniel. You have not yet heeded those warnings, but you were told that there will come one after the one you begin to start calling Jesus the Christ. He told you that there will be one that will come that will be greater than he. And when he comes, you will understand that he will bring you a message in which if you do not heed this message, you will no longer exist. I would say to you now, prepare yourself. For it will either be for you life or it will be death. It will be for you even an everlasting life or an everlasting eternal death. So as I prepare myself to go back to my drawing board to complete what my Father has me doing for the day, I say to you, oh, great one in the United Nations, for my love is with you, and I do hear all of your complaints. And all of your complaints are on the table, and the world court will act upon everything that's being said. It will act, it will sit down, and it will negotiate on all of the things coming from all over the planet, whether it be from the United States or whether it be from Angola or whether it be from Albania, all the way to Zambia or to Zimbabwe. It will be looked at and it will be taken action upon. This I can agree and assure you, because all of the nations, all of the places around now, the judges have put themselves in a position to realize they can no longer sit down and talk personally with friends. But they must now put themselves in a position where they seclude themselves so we can be locked up in rooms where we can make decisions according to the word of the YHWH, Yah, God Almighty, rather than find ourselves discussing things in which will not benefit the universe. So I say, prepare yourself for a great new world. And as I prepare myself for even a deeper work today, when in the course of human event, when it becomes necessary for one people to separate themselves from another, even by the political bands in which has bound them together, that people must then realize that they must take up on the power of nature and of nature's God, that they must then begin to work together to better the world rather than to destroy it. And because of these things that have already been written in a preamble, based upon a man by the name of Colonel Richard Henderson, that made sure that he brought it to the people's attention. I say to you, my work is at hand. Get you some rest if in the event that you can. United Nations, I know that it's night for you and day for us. And I say to you, nightfall. And to those that are in the United States, I say to you, in a minute, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. One mind, one heart, one spirit. Until later, peace and love.
Thank you, brother. Peace and love. And peace and love to you, family, as well. We do continue to work with you in one mind, one heart, and one spirit under the 5 divine principles of life. Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. So until Friday morning, we will leave you with John 17:14 through 17. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. Have a great day and nightfall.